Howdy, friends.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
There has been a whole week of football, guys.
We
A
made
good
it.
week.
We made it. We made it through the off season.
It was a good week for most of us. I
Some
love
of
you,
us.
Ethan.
You just
Not
had to go there, just off the jump. Off the jump.
Okay, I gotta complain for a second. Miami fans are all up in people's Twitter mentions right now.
I've been
I don't
seeing
know if
that.
you've been on social media, but the Miami fans think that, first of all, it's going to be this like big, scary environment that we've never played in before, and this, that.
Did you
Y'all.
see where they're giving away buy one get one tickets?
Yes. It was like you can't even fill your stadium.
I did not see that.
Yeah, they're giving.
Yeah, if you buy tickets to this game, you get to go to Georgia Tech for free.
Yeah, New Mexico's doing a little something like that this week.
Well, that's New Mexico makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah, but Miami and A&M, that's something.
They're like, so honey, more people went to Midnight Yell than went to your first game. So
I love when other fan bases have to deal with FSU and Miami fans. Like, like you guys deal with Florida fans enough since we're all in the SEC, but FSU and Miami fans. I don't know if any of you have UCF on the schedule. They're not as bad just because really nobody takes them seriously. Like, I know I'm saying that even though they beat us, like I can own up to that. But people still don't take them seriously because they claim that national championship, and that's an embarrassing thing that real schools don't do.
Mm-hmm.
But those schools, like Miami, is kind of the most laughable because like FSU sucked for a long time. They're pretty good this year, but they at least had fans in the stands. Like UCF, like they sucked for a long time. They had a really good year. They're kind of on the come up. They have fans in their stands. Miami, literally, if you watch a Miami game and it's like Florida State, and a conference game, they will at least be 50-50 with the other team's fans, sometimes like 70-30 in their own home stadium. Every game. It's really not a meme. And then they'll be on Twitter, just be like, yep, the U, and you're just like, dude, there's
no,
10,000 people in your stadium. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there was more Steelers fans in your stadium than Miami Hurricanes fans.
yikes! I can't. And they're like, well, what have you won since African Americans were allowed to play? And I said, okay, but you're not good, dude. Like again, you're not good.
Miami and South Carolina have like the same thing. Like South Carolina has more ACC titles than they do SEC titles. Miami, they only ever won in the Big East, and they've been in the ACC for like 20 years, and they have one division title.
There you go.
That's tough.
When you play Boston College and Rutgers and I guess old Virginia Tech was pretty good. But yeah, the old Big East was a bit of a joke.
I can't. I'm just over it. I need this game to be played so we can stop arguing about whose traditions are weirder. Especially when your only tradition is what, like smoke? I don't get it.
Yeah, they don't have traditions. Not selling out their stadium.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's why I tried to explain. I said, y'all understand, you can't sell out your stadium when you're winning. We lost to App State and then played y'all the next week and sold out Kyle Field. What are you doing?
The best. Have they told you about John Ruiz yet?
I haven't. No. Do I want to know?
Okay. So John Ruiz, he's their big time NIL booster. He was the guy who got like all those basketball players, the twin female basketball players, Cavender's twins, their football play. He signed them to this company that he started called Life Wallet, and Life Wallet is part of this company that he started under a SPAC a couple of years ago, and it had like a $23.5 billion valuation, right? and it was focused on basically having an algorithm to where they could look at hospital billing and see what insurance companies paid for that Medicare or Medicaid should have paid for. And then they can charge that back and get the money from Medicare or Medicaid or the insurance, whatever. And ultimately, it would save whatever party uses it a bunch of money. The problem with that is that it's basically a scam. And since he listed that company on the NASDAQ, it has lost 99.9% of its value. Like it's been delisted by the NASDAQ in 18 months since it went public. So all of Miami's NIL deals are through that Life Wallet company. Now they have a couple of other boosters that are pretty rich, but he's the guy on Twitter who went around and promised Miami that he would build them a new stadium.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure if you guys have looked at the city of Miami or Coral Gables. There's not a lot of room to be had. So his plan was to tear down a park that was owned by the city of Miami and build a stadium there. And they put out these mock-ups and all this stuff, and the city of Miami came out and said, this land is leased for the next 70 years or something like that. Like, good luck, but we're not going to let you tear down our park to build a stadium.
I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, like it was like the state-of-the-art stadium. They had architects do a mock-up and all that stuff. And then people are just like, where the hell are you going to put a stadium in Miami? Like, look at the stadiums that they built for the Dolphins and the Inter Miami and Miami FC, whatever they're called. They're like $2 billion stadiums in the middle of Miami that hold like 20,000 people, maybe. And you're telling everybody that you're going to build the stadium in Miami that number one is going to cost you like $5 billion, and number two, there's nowhere to put it.
Yeah. No. Gotta love Miami, guys. Yeah. I just need to win this game. I just need to.
You know, I will certainly be rooting for a repeat of last year to where you guys win, but nobody looks particularly good doing it.
A&M hasn't looked particularly good until last week.
I didn't get to watch any of them.
But people keep saying, oh, Connor hasn't thrown an interception yet. And I said, shh. Don't put it in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Sure would be nice to start off with a cupcake. Some of us just get thrown into the blender game one and look awful in the process.
Aw. You're okay.
It's hilarious to me that somehow we all pick different, like somehow we're all 13-2, despite the fact, like in different ways. Like if we all would have just unanimously picked stuff, I don't know. That's funny to me that like the Florida, South Carolina, and LSU games were the only three that were even interesting, and somehow all of us had different combinations of it and got the same record.
I can't believe my one loss is Hawaii. Like that was just.
Yep. Your two are Vandy, and you picked South Carolina, which we both picked South Carolina. I picked LSU and South Carolina. You picked Vandy, or you picked Hawaii and US and South Carolina. Ethan picked Florida and LSU.
What?
Am I wrong?
Did South Carolina lose?
Yeah, South Carolina lost. South Carolina looked like shit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong week. Yes. You're right.
Yeah, they played North Carolina.
Like, whoa. Look, I was at the lake this weekend. I couldn't follow everything. But now I do remember that.
I'm also upset that Connor Wingman is not an SEC Player of the Week. But Milroe and Milton are, and he had a better QBR than both of them. Not that I'm bitter at all.
QBR is a made-up stat.
Nobody needs statistics, up, so it's fine. The talent on your team is made up, so it's fine.
Hey, it damn sure broke it off in Texas A&M last year, though.
Was it even a big win? I don't even remember.
It was like 41-24 or something like that.
There
Do
you
you
go.
think Billy gets fired mid-season?
Nah.
Okay.
I think okay. Let's transition here. I think that number one, we shot ourselves in the foot. That's a correctable problem.
Mhm.
Now, if it doesn't get corrected, I could definitely see a scenario to where if we are like 2-9 or some shit, yeah, he's getting fired. Like there's I think that we have the pieces. I think we could look real bad in game one. I think that the back-to-back travel days, like we flew into Dallas on Tuesday because of the hurricane, stayed the night, practiced at North Texas's field, and then flew to Utah on Wednesday and then played on Thursday. I think we looked like shit coming out. Like did not look prepared. A lot of mental mistakes. Generally speaking, week one and week two, like if a lot of other teams had those kinds of mistakes, LSU had them, South Carolina had them. Obviously, all three of those teams lost. If you get that cleaned up, I think we'll be okay. Really, Tennessee is going to be the big test. Like we play, Northwestern State or some shit this week.
McNeese.
Yeah, McNeese State. I blanked on them. So we get an FCS team. We get our chance to sort of get warmed up, whereas most every other team in the country got to play them week one. We had to fly across the country and play at altitude week one. Utah was missing like 8 starters. We really should have won that game. And I think that, I think if that game was week 2, I think we probably would have won it pretty handily. Just because I don't think we'll make those kinds of mistakes again because we didn't do it last year. We had a bunch of penalties in like one game last year, and it was like the Tennessee game in Neyland. So that's kind of been our Achilles heels is playing on the road, and that's not very good in the SEC because you have a lot of hostile road environments. So I think we'll get it cleaned up. I think we'll be okay. 11-1, still alive. It's alive until it isn't.
You're gonna beat LSU and Georgia and all them.
Yeah.
What you're telling me.
I mean, 11-1 until we're not. Until we're mathematically eliminated from my 11-1 prediction. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. I mean, let's be real. So the LSU FSU game, the score is very deceiving. Like LSU was up 17-14 or 20-17 or something like that at halftime. It was 24-17 or something like that going into the fourth. And then Jaden Daniels threw a pick, and it was like LSU's entire team just like rolled over. Like FSU just ran over them after he threw that pick. So I think that LSU, they made a lot of penalties. FSU had a bunch of penalties. So, I mean, I think that LSU doesn't look nearly as good as I thought they were going to, but they kind of did the same thing last year to where they kind of, they muffed a punt in the game. They had a lot of mistakes that they kind of cleaned up as the season went along. I thought LSU was going to come out the gate with a lot of those guys, the Harold Perkins and Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. I thought all those guys were going to come out ready to go. They didn't look too good.
Harold Perkins has disappeared since he got his head hit into the grass at Cowfield.
He changed his number. That's mistake number one.
Yeah, he did. He changed his number. And, I mean, I think their rushing game, like their rush defense was really, really good. But then when they weren't, the wheels fell off quick in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful thing to see.
And I got that one right.
You want a gold star?
I did.
Let's see. Games we care about. Vanderbilt and Wake Forest. Is this the start of Vanderbilt's losing streak?
Probably.
Well, they play UNLV next week, so I think that it's the first of many losses.
I'm trying to see.
LSU can't win under adversity. Okay.
Yeah, Wake Forest.
I mean, that's the Brian Kelly method.
See, Georgia will win. Kentucky will win. Tulane and Ole Miss. Man, do I want Tulane to win that game.
I picked Tulane to win, but Ole Miss scored what, like 73 points or something like that?
Some shit, yeah.
So now I'm not too confident in my pick, but we'll see. I didn't watch any of it, so I don't know what that actually looked like.
Week 1 games against FCS teams
Yeah.
are like I don't want to quote Nick Saban and say rat poison. I feel like they get people completely we kind of had the inverse
Overreacting everywhere.
to where after Utah last year, it was like, oh shit, maybe Florida's going to be pretty good. Is Anthony Richardson going to win the Heisman? And then the next 11 games happen, and you're like, oh, okay. All the things, all the stuff we thought before the season happened, and then we saw week 1 after 9 months of no football. Then you're just like, wow, maybe my team's different than I thought.
Yeah.
We destroyed McNeese State or Weber State or Southeastern Louisiana or whatever.
Western Carolina.
Yeah, Western Carolina. Wow, we put up 70 on them. Nobody's going to stop us. And then you're like, oh, this is what we look like when their defensive tackle isn't 260 pounds. Oh, so we don't just get the run of the middle when our teams are equally matched. Okay, I see. That's not fun.
Can we talk about this comment for a second? UGA has never covered a 40-point spread under Kirby Smart. Okay, but you also have 2 championships, so I don't care. Hi, Love Bug. You a visitor, Ethan.
So Tulane won 37-17 over South Alabama over the weekend.
Well, there you go.
It's not too bad. South Alabama's one of the better, I guess now that conferences are realigning, G5 isn't an accurate assessment because, your Cincinnati's, UCF, SMU, I guess Tulane's still going to be around, but, South Alabama, I guess now will have, a high G5 of, the AAC and then, a low G5. South Alabama's a pretty good low G5 team.
Sure.
They almost beat UCLA last year.
Every time I hear UCLA, I think of 2 things. The blown lead and Josh Rosen saying when he came into Kyle Field that after 50,000, it all sounds the same. That didn't work out well for him.
We had our starting defensive end and team captain tweet out a picture of Utah Stadium that said small ass stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Before the game started, and then promptly proceeded to have 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 pressures.
And then Utah tweeted small ass
win. Yeah, small ass win or small ass dub or something. I'm all for the petty. We did it to South Carolina last year. Put up or shut up. That's all. I mean, I don't have any hard feelings when schools and teams and players do that stuff. Talk your talk.
Oh, I love it. Let's see. We talked about A&M and Miami for a second. If we don't win this game, I'll cry. That's all I have to say about that. I won't even be watching it fully because I'm getting my hair done during the game because I had no other choice.
Wow.
I have to get my hair colored.
Wow. I will be in Fayetteville for Kent State. Super exciting game.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Kent State got blown out by UCF last week, but that was a fun game to watch.
Oh, goodness. We played Kent State, what was it, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 2020, I think it was, when we opened. No, wasn't it was supposed to have been 2021 then. But it wasn't a very convincing win. It was very sad. It was the start of our downfall. Let's talk Texas and Alabama.
Let's do it.
I was trying to get our Texas fan to come, but she is on her way to Alabama. I'm not sure I'd want to sit in the stadium for this game.
She's on her way to Alabama?
Yes.
Right now?
Right now. on a Wednesday. Turn up on a Wednesday.
Drive to Tuscaloosa on a Wednesday.
I'm not sure I'd want to sit on this in the stadium for this one. I don't think it's going to be close.
I don't think it is either.
And I
Really?
don't think Alabama's that good.
Did anyone watch Texas?
I followed it. They were not losing, but they were close with Rice in the first half.
That's right, Rice.
And I was
37-10.
Like, I kept looking at the score and I was like, are you okay? Not like Baylor okay, but
That was.
And Texas Tech. So if Texas had have dropped that game, A&M fans would have had a really good time in the state of
The
Texas.
Big 12 is crumbling.
I'm telling you, it's gonna rain. It rained in College Station, or it's gonna flooded in College Station because of the tears in Waco.
Man, Dave Aranda, what a fall from grace that he's had.
You mean you're not supposed to lose to Texas State? What?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right, Ethan, who you got, Alabama or Texas, and why?
Oh, I got Alabama.
Easily.
I mean, I got Alabama going undefeated. I mean, I don't. It's not so much. I thought Alabama's team last year was going to be like a generational type team, like one of their 2020 type teams. Obviously, it wasn't. I think this is a combination of really LSU kind of being the only other kind of comparably talented team. Like I'm not gonna believe in Tennessee until they make me. I get they beat Bama last year. I just don't think you can. I find it hard to believe that you're going to get 17 penalties on Alabama in Bryant-Denny. And I don't think that without 17 penalties, Tennessee even keeps that game close, much less Alabama basically handing them the game at the end of it, that field goal. And then, I mean, I guess A&M, I haven't really seen your guys' defense. Like, I didn't really watch your game at all. Obviously, you guys
was good.
Yeah, but it's New Mexico.
But it's New Mexico.
Like looking at your schedule, really until you play Arkansas. Like, I mean, I guess Hugh Freeze could have an interesting offense, but Peyton Thorne sucks. Like, I don't think they have the pieces yet to really be a threat to many teams. Like, they kind of have like a 6-6 vibe to them, just because Brian Harsin kind of didn't really recruit very well. So, really, you guys basically have what 1, 2, 3, 4. You have like 4 games to get warmed up, and then you have Arkansas, who you get them at, or I guess in Jerry's World or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have the first month of the season basically not playing a team with a good offense. And then I feel like it's always kind of hard to gauge how good your defense is. Like offense, I feel like it's much easier to gauge an offense against a bad team, because against a bad team, if you want, especially an FCS type team, if you want, you can just give them run the ball at them. Like, you want to put up a bunch of okay, well, your receivers are bigger and taller and faster than their DBs. Just go out and throw the ball around, go out and run the ball, whatever. But defense, like, I feel like you can tell an offense is going to be pretty decent, but defense, it's like, okay, well, this team runs the triple option in the FCS and they got 7 rushing yards against you. Like, does that really tell you? It kind of goes by what we were saying. Like, does that really tell you how you're going to do against Bama? So I think
Bama at home.
That's true. I mean, that's a valid point.
And we almost beat them last year, even with that 5-7 team.
And you guys did beat LSU.
It's true.
Just wanted to remind everybody.
I just wanted to remind everybody that we use Harold Perkins' head as a basketball. Man, that was probably one of my favorite plays from last year. Is Devon A-Chain just, and his head went on the turf, and I was like, that doesn't look fun. Like, that doesn't look fun for you.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I feel like A&M could be good, But I could see the fact that we don't know until we play Arkansas, Alabama, these teams.
Yeah.
We get Alabama and Tennessee back to back.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Durkin, I mean, he's a killer defensive coordinator.
Ish.
Nobody gets that.
Oh, I took it. I'm just trying not to comment on it.
I mean,
I
it's
don't
like
get
Brian
it.
Kelly.
I get that one.
I got that one.
I got that one.
Ouch. I don't know. I feel like our schedule is pretty favorable for us to go at least 9-3. At least. And I feel like with our roster, you have to do that.
Yeah.
This roster is pretty much idiot proof, you would think.
We'll see.
I tell you, Max Johnson came in our game, and I was like, "What are you doing, buddy? What you doing?"
Do y'all remember the I follow like mock drafts and stuff in the NFL, so it's always like fun to see them just fall apart miserably. And like Max Johnson was like the projected #1 overall pick. Like everybody thought he was just gonna be great. Like PFF had Emory Jones as the 6th overall pick a couple of years ago. Like these JT Daniels as the #1 overall pick, a few years back. It's always fun to see these publications put out these mock drafts where they have these guys as like top 5 picks, and then you look up after the season and they're playing at like Rice or Cincinnati or whatever, or they're the backup for Texas A&M now. It's like, oh wow, you saw the #1 overall pick in this player, and yet here they are 12 games later and they're on a G5 roster, or they're a backup somewhere. Like, I don't know if I trust you.
Can we talk about the fact that Max Johnson is still listed as a sophomore? He was listed as a sophomore when he was on the LSU team and beat A&M. Then he took the COVID year and a redshirt injury year and is now retroactively a sophomore again somehow. I don't even know how that works.
COVID was bad enough on its own, but probably, at least for me personally, as someone who thankfully avoided a lot of the bad effects and all the other stuff to come, for me personally, the worst part of COVID is that it allowed all of these players an extra year of eligibility, and somehow they all ended up on FSU's roster.
Every single one of them.
That's the worst part about COVID for me personally.
Oh, no, you know what made me laugh? Haynes King screwing up at the end of the game for Georgia Tech. Apparently he had a fumble, and I was like, yep, sounds about right. I was like, yep, yeah. You're welcome. We gifted that to you. Happy. Like, I hope you enjoy that.
I didn't see any of our transfers this weekend, except at LSU.
Yeah, well, Emory Jones and one of our wide receivers are both at Cincinnati now, and what was the final score? It was like an insane score.
We had a group of people go there a couple weeks ago, or a couple years ago.
They beat Eastern Kentucky 66-13. And I've seen so many fans just be like, wow, Emory Jones put up 450 yards. And it's like, they're playing Eastern Kentucky at home. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
You look around the college football land, it's like Emory Jones sucked at Florida, transferred to Arizona State, sucked at Arizona State, got benched, and now transfers to Cincinnati, and people are just like, wow, he looked pretty good against Eastern Kentucky. Wish we had him back. And you're like, we had him, and he sucked. You saw him suck for 13 games. What do you want?
You watched this happen.
Like, what? It's Eastern. They went 7-5 in the FCS last year, and people are just like, wow, 450 yards of offense.
Kentucky plays Eastern Kentucky this week, so there you go.
There you go.
Wow.
Devin Leary's going to have like 212 yards or something.
I need Anaya Smith to get a touchdown because I don't know if he got one on Saturday. Noah Thomas had 3 because he's like Josh Reynolds and Mike Evans had a baby. Like, kid is 6'6", long arms, and I'm like, where did you come from and where do we get more? Do you have a brother? I need to know.
I'm still waiting on Evan Stewart to hit the portal.
I know you are. So is every Texas fan known to man. Literally, okay, there are Texas fans in my mentions talking about, oh, Jonte Cook is so much better than Evan Stewart. And he had literally no touchdowns. And not over 100 yards. So no. And they're like, well, he's not our number 1 receiver. Evan's your number 1 receiver. And I said, okay. So we compared him to their number 1 receiver, who also had no touchdowns. Hi, Rebel. The cat is like, meow, hello. Oh, hi.
Special guest.
We've had a kid and a cat.
She's like, hello. I'm just coming across you to go see my brother on the ground. All right.
I didn't realize that BYU it was 14-0 against Sam Houston.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really?
We might Rocket Sanders might be out against BYU, and I'm not looking forward to that, but
oh no.
He didn't look very good for like the first quarter, which was the only quarter that he really played. So
I don't like him against A&M, but I have no like ill will against the kid. I just don't appreciate him doing well against A&M. So
yeah,
that's my feelings on that.
He's having knee issues. He gained about like 25 freaking pounds. He looks insane.
Like good weight or like not good weight?
Supposedly good weight, but it didn't look too good.
Yeah, those are always. I always love those. He couldn't really
go. He was just stuttering.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
There's always those stories in the off season of it's like, oh, so and so gained 11 pounds of lean muscle, and then you see him in game 1, and you're like, what? Like Desmond Watson, like the juicy number 21 for Florida. Like every off season, it's like, is he going to lose weight? He's 439 pounds. Like, can he drop down to like 400, like 410 maybe? And then they put out the roster, and it's like, he's 415. Oh, wow, he lost 25. Good for him. And then you look again, it's like, he's 435. And you're like, how the fuck do you gain 20 pounds when you're an athlete? When you're working out and exercising and playing a full contact sport at over 400 pounds, how do you gain weight? Yeah, like the kid we need those two to get together. Like we need like a bowl game against TCU or something, just so these two guys can get onto the field at one time.
That might not work out for them.
We had a D lineman put on 40 pounds or over 40 pounds, and that was good weight. He actually looks insane, but
Walter Nolan slimmed down like 30, 40 pounds, some shit. So he looks good.
Yeah.
He's quick.
Yeah, the way they build their bodies is so crazy.
That's what I'm excited about. Like, I'm excited to see Walter Nolan against SEC defenses or SEC offenses. Because kid's quick now. All right, my friends, let's make quick picks so Ethan can go. Vanderbilt and Wake Forest.
I got Wake Forest.
Wake.
I picked Vanderbilt, but outside of the picks, I would say Wake Forest.
So you picked them to lose to Hawaii, but beat Wake Forest. Sydney's like an agent of chaos.
My picks are chaos. We all know we picked Georgia over Ball State. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Kentucky over Eastern Kentucky. That's pretty obvious. Ole Miss and Tulane.
I got
I
Tulane.
picked Ole Miss. I don't feel great about it. Like I kind of wish I would have thought about that a little bit more. I'm gonna stick with Ole Miss, but I could definitely see Tulane pulling that one off.
I'd love to see Tulane pull that one. I'd love to be wrong and see Tulane. A&M and Miami.
A&M.
A&M.
Oh, God. Don't let me down, football gods. Don't let me down. Let's see. Arkansas and Kent State's pretty obvious.
The Piggies.
The
Did y'all
Pigs.
see the thing? I forget who it was. Let me see who they played. Oh, UCF.
Oh, what I sent y'all?
Was it you that sent it? Okay, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming you saw it
Yes.
since you sent it to me. Makes sense.
The whatchamacallit, call the National Guard. Like, why? Why you gotta go there?
See
Dude.
that's the other side of the coin of what I was talking about with Utah, to where it's like talk that talk, like have a nice little jab, right? Like we did in South Carolina with don't get rattled, right?
Yeah.
The Kent State call the National Guard thing, that's crossing the line. Like that's
Making a
too
bonfire joke.
far.
It's not
That's
funny.
wild.
Yeah.
It's like making bonfire jokes. They're not funny. Tennessee and Austin P. We know who's gonna win that game. Alabama and Texas.
Bama.
Bama. Missouri and Middle Tennessee State. God, please let Missouri win that game.
I'd be fine with them losing it.
Yeah, I'd be fine with them losing it too. I mean, I have them winning, but I have no qualms about watching Missouri drop a game into the Blue Raiders.
Kind of like Clemson and the Blue Devils. Man, that was fun.
Did not see that one coming.
No, but it was hilarious. When you build your program on God and then you lose to the Blue Devils. Let's see. LSU will beat Grambling. We know that. Florida, hopefully you'll beat McNeese. I hope so.
Oh, that's how it's gonna be.
For your sake.
Okay.
Let's just hope it's not your App State, okay?
Yeah, I mean that's only happened once, in our history. So if it happens again, Napier's definitely getting fired like that day. I think if we lose to McNeese State or Charlotte, I think that our entire athletic department gets purged like on the way out.
None of you can come back to Florida, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mississippi State and Arizona. Is Arizona any good? The last time I checked in on them, they were coached by Kevin Sumlin, and I haven't checked on them since.
They're now coached by Jed Fish, who I think's pretty good. They just beat Northern Arizona. The Wake Forest and this game are the only two games that I had SEC teams dropping this week. I think Arizona. I think they're gonna pull it off.
Interesting. Fun.
Fun. Poor Mississippi State. South Carolina and Furman. Hopefully South Carolina can pull that off. Auburn and Cal.
So I picked Auburn to win. For my own personal good vibes and feelings, I'd love to see them lose. That way we can point to Auburn and Hugh Freeze and be like, hey, look, traveling out west, you lose sleep. It's crazy out there. We're on the East Coast. That's why we lost to Utah.
Where this is going.
Yeah, it's all about
the blame game.
Yes, the transitive property of as long as we're not the only one, then we can have something to hang our hats on.
That is not the word I heard. I did not hear hat at all.
Hang our ass? Yeah, we did hang our ass on Thursday.
I was like, that's what I heard. One of my kids decided to say that word today.
Oh, nice.
And the F word. I turned around real quick and I said, do you want me to call your mom and you can say that to her?
Did he tell you
And he
you're going to
looks
do
at
it.
me and he goes, He said, never say that in my classroom again, or we will call mom and tell her exactly what you said. And he said, okay. I was like, all
You
right.
should have
Cool.
washed his mouth out. You should have went to the like hand washing station and just like pumped it a bunch of times, like on the little. I don't know what kind of hand washing station you have, but like in my school, it was like. I guess I'm a little bit older than y'all, but they used to have like this balloon shaped thing, and it was filled with like a pink soap, and then there was like a pump on the bottom that you would have to press up, and it would like go into your hands. Let me
Yes.
see. Did y'all have that in elementary
I
school?
know what you're talking about. I just have a soap dispenser, but yes.
I'll have to do some research on this because this is like a core memory of mine of like this like metal
Did you
and
say
plastic.
curse words to your teacher and you got your mouth
Oh,
washed?
hell no. I was a good kid.
I
I
also
waited until I was like
today.
in my 20s to start being a bad kid.
Yeah, I also got a chair thrown at me today.
Aren't you a kindergarten teacher?
Yes. Absolutely.
How are you getting chairs?
I told her that she could sit on the rug because she was mishandling her desk and pushing it around and like kicking it. And I said, you can go sit on the rug if that's how you're going to treat the desk. And she said no, and she threw a chair at me.
Perfect.
It was like, okay, thanks.
Is this common?
For her, yes.
But just for kindergartners?
No.
Okay. Okay. Because I mean, they're kids. They have emotional problems, like I'm not necessarily problems, but problems controlling their emotions because they're 4 and 5 years old. So I don't know. I've never been like my kid didn't do it. But my kid's a sweetheart, right? So like I don't know what other kids do.
My kid's perfect, so.
Yeah, my kid's awesome. All your other kids might suck. That's how I feel about kids.
That's how I feel about it.
That's why I'm not a teacher.
It's all good. All right, we will see y'all on the other side of week 2.
Week 2.
Thanks.
Woohoo.
Gonna get in the win column.
I hope for your sake you do. Look at him doing his gig'em. So proud.
Is that what this is? Thumbs up? That's how creative you guys are?
I will tell you the story of gig'em one day. Unless you want to hear it.
Save it for another day.
Okay.
I have to work through how a thumbs up is a gig'em.
Gig'em.
I have to create my own theory before you spoil it for me.
Your own theory. Oh, God. I'm scared.
Don't forget to set your fantasy football lineups.
I don't do fantasy football because I will get too into it, and that'll be a problem.
I'm going to draft as we speak.
Nice.
That's why Cindy's not talking to us.
That's why I'm mute over here.
Cindy's like, I don't care about you.
Priorities, I understand.
It's my
All right. Thanks and gig 'em, y'all. See y'all next week.
Woo pig.
Go Gators.